Serena Heckler, thanks for the interview. And I would like to ask you, as a UNESCO representative in one way or another, to the 15th Forum Conference regarding Indigenous issues, particularly education and learning process on this. As part of you in institutions, what is your impressions regarding the conference?
I think the conference was a very rich discussion of the full complexity of developing an appropriate education for Indigenous peoples. There was a very prominent recognition of the importance of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, in particular Article 14, which talks about the importance of Indigenous peoples being empowered to develop their own education systems. But within that human rights framework that's also recognized in other instruments such as ILO 169, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and the Human Rights Declaration on the Right to Education, there's a real challenge in terms of implementation. What does it mean to implement a quality education for Indigenous peoples? Is that the same education as a state education system? Is it something that's adapted to their needs? Certainly, UNESCO's focus and policy is on mother language education, at least at the lower learning levels, and there was a lot of discussion about that with some very interesting case studies from all over the world. So I think from the perspective of myself as a professional with UNESCO, I learned a lot, and I saw a lot that accords with UNESCO's policy on education for Indigenous peoples.
I would like to ask where the UN and UNESCO in particular stand now from Indigenous issues. Is there any future programs that we can witness in near future? What's the future agenda?
Well, since the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples was voted in 2007, the UN system has been taking on board the declaration and its importance, considering policies within the individual agencies and organizations. And that includes UNESCO, that began a policy, a house-wide policy for engaging with Indigenous peoples. We began the process of developing the policy in 2011 with meetings with Indigenous peoples in Latin America, Africa, and Asia, and internal consultations within the House with staff to identify what this policy should address. And we're now starting to work towards that policy. So I think in terms of UNESCO, that's going to be a very important development for ensuring that the rights of Indigenous peoples are recognized in all of our programs and projects, including in the education projects.
Serena Heckler from UNESCO regarding Indigenous issues. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.